Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for this day. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your mercies towards us. We thank you for your grace and sustaining us. We thank you, dear God, that you are a great physician, a mighty healer. And when we think about health and well-being, we know exactly whom to turn to for solutions, for guidance. And we come to you at this time. We ask for a special blessing on our presenter, and that all that would be shared will be in accordance with your will, that it would make sense, it would be simple enough for us to be able to understand and apply as needed. We thank you for all who have been present here and all those who are yet to join, and continue to be with us. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so we are here at Upper Trinidad and Tobago, and we share the healing platform. At the last Sunday of each month, we bring to you presentations on health that can be quite meaningful. And that, either it is that we're looking at a particular health emphasis time of the month or the year, or a topic that when you hear these topics, they're real detailed and researched information. So we pray that you pay attention, take your notes, do put your questions into the chat. At the end, we will have a Q&A session. The session is being recorded and it will be posted out on various chat groups as you have been invited, so keep looking out in that space for the recording. So today we have a special presenter, and it's none other than Dr. Sylette Henry-Buckmire. Now, Dr. Buckmire has a PhD in health and rehabilitation science, and she works with people who are chronically ill, living with disabilities, to access, rethink, and redesign spaces of interest, work, home, leisure, and worship areas in light of barriers that they may deny access. And she has been the intermediate past president of Upper Trinidad and Tobago. She's currently a secretary since 2024, and also the health promoter and educator for 20 years in community resilience model wellness, which is what we call CREM. And she's a community resiliency model wellness practitioner for the past 16 years, a gospel medical missionary, where she also meets the physical, mental health needs in order to bring restoration to the soul. Dr. Buckmire also works at the Pure Wellness Lifestyle Center, and our guests here, they're always really happy to have those encounters with her and have such deep, meaningful sessions with her on a one-to-one and group level. So we're happy to invite Dr. Buckmire to the set at this time, and she's going to take us through the topic, good food, good mood. So I hope we're all ready and gearing to get some of that food and be in a great mood. Dr. Buckmire.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction and warm words of welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. And I am trying to share my screen. Wonderful. Let me just pull it up here. I want to thank each of you for your presence this afternoon. Many times we wonder why we feel a particular way, and we need to consider what we are putting into our mouths. So this is taking just a little while, but let me try again. Wonderful. So it is here with you. Are you hearing me clearly? Just as a check-in?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so before we continue, let us just bow our heads in prayer. Dear Father, you are God all by yourself. Thank you for the privilege of being your mouthpiece to your children. May the words that you've placed on my lips redound to better health for all of your beautiful children here on the chat and beyond who will listen beyond today. In Jesus' name, amen. Good food, good mood. Yes, and let us go straight into it. I would invite your questions. You can place it in the chat. And here is a promise that God has given us from Exodus chapter 15 and verse 26, where he says, "And the Lord said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians. For I am the Lord that healeth thee." And I'm inviting us to hold on to this promise. Proverbs 26:2, part B says, "The curse causeless shall not come." So we can appreciate that disease does not come without a cause. And Job 29:16 continues, "The cause which I knew not, I searched out." So when we are experiencing illness of any kind, dis-ease, the cause should be ascertained. Unhealthful conditions should be changed, wrong habits corrected, and then nature is to be assisted in her effort to expel impurities and to reestablish right conditions in the system. And I'm inviting you to mute your mics so that we'll have a clean recording. And I want us to consider that having a good mood begins in our gut. Yes, our gut. The microbes living in your gut aren't permanent residents. No, they're not. Now, the gut microbiota is a collection of diverse microorganisms residing in our GI tract. Now, there are many factors, including genetic factors, early life factors, our antibiotic use, the level of infection that our mothers would have had, and so on, as well as our lifestyle factors, that is diet, physical activity, level of stress even. It can severely alter the composition and diversity of our gut microbiome. And think of our microbiome as inhabitants of a thriving city. These dwellers will come and go over time. Now, researchers have reported that a more diverse microbiome is a healthier microbiome. And in other words, the more types of healthy gut bacteria operating within your system, the better. And this diversity results in a more capable and resilient gut. So the good news is that we can control the kinds of bacteria that live in our gut. And I thank God for that. We can modify and control our diet and other lifestyle behaviors. So, to be in a good mood, we need to eat good food. And so in the gut, and this is now background just for us to all be on the same page. The good bacteria has a lot of work to do. So it identifies the bad guys or the pathogens and they usher them out of the system. It aids the body in the process of digestion, absorbing nutrients, turning them into energy that our body needs. It also strengthens our immunity by training our immune system to distinguish between the harmful as well as the beneficial microbes and help them to maintain that gut barrier, preventing the pathogens from entering our bloodstream. So in effect, it is keeping the pathogens away from our organs. Additionally, it produces vitamins by synthesizing essential vitamins like K, B6, and B12. For some people, this may be, oh, this is so good. Now, this slide highlights many of the things that we eat. Is there anything on this slide that is unfamiliar to you? And yes, you can open your mic or put it in the chat. Some people may even dare say there's some comfort food here. And these are all either animal products or highly processed foods. So we have baked fish beginning at the left-hand corner to colas, Sprite, Malta, Smalta, that type of drink. We have our pizza. For others, there's the red meat, there's a steak, an ice cream. Yes, this burger that is so rich, and even the pancakes. Yes. And then there's Fruit Loops. Now, these are all highly or ultra processed foods, and these have been significantly altered from their natural state, often containing added ingredients such as preservatives, food additives, and additional salt, sugars, or fats. Now, not all, but some tend to be very low in fiber and nutrients. So let us consider the sodas, the juices, the sports drinks, which contain many added sugars, artificial colors, flavors, cookies, some crackers. We have breakfast cereals, frozen dinners, luncheon meats. All of these things are main contributors to obesity and diabetes. But they also contain artificial sweeteners and they are linked to weight gain and increased risk of stroke. And let us not forget, when we go to the grocery, when we go to different shops and you consider processed vegan foods, the processed vegan cheeses and vegan burgers, you want to have your food in as natural a form as possible, okay? But there's a point I'm getting to. So I want us to keep this image in mind. Look at that burger. It looks very juicy. There's a pizza on top, right? Look at this composite picture. And then let us consider this image. Now, I hope that you are seeing it clearly. And I'm walking you through the development of this long word that we'll call TMAO, which is the trimethylamine N-oxide. It is a metabolite. And it is a metabolite produced by the gut bacteria from dietary choline, L-carnitine, and betaine, and has been linked to cardiovascular disease. However, emerging research suggests that it may also play a role in mood disorders like anxiety, depression, cravings, and inflammation. So how is it produced? So when we eat the cheese or any other full fat dairy product, the ice creams, the milk, that tasty chunk of macaroni pie, and the egg yolk, and there's the red meat. So when we eat that, it enters into our mouth, goes down into our gut, and our gut flora converts the nutrients to trimethylamine. And this trimethylamine is converted to trimethylamine N oxide in the liver. And this metabolite now plays a significant role in inflammation in the body. And here it is, we see where it regulates various physiological processes, including the development of atherosclerosis. Now, because it is on the screen, I just want to highlight that the inflammation damages the inner lining of the blood vessels, leading to the buildup of plaque. That is, the fatty deposits in that process known as atherosclerosis. So think of the cholesterol that is in your body. It is realizing that there are potholes in your arteries and it plugs it. And therefore, after that continual plugging, what would have been a very clear artery would now have layers of plaque formed into atherosclerosis, leading to hardening and narrowing of these arteries, reducing your blood flow and potentially causing angina. But we are focusing today on good food, good mood. And so let us think of TMAO or cravings and the food choices that we make. Now, the dopamine and reward system, it is high on our agenda when we think about our food cravings. What is your favorite food? What is your comfort food? Your go-to food when you just need a lift? I want you to write it in the chat. Let's see what it is. And as you put it in the chat, I will share. Now, high levels of TMAO may influence cravings by affecting dopamine pathways in the brain. Yes, bread. That is a biggie. Chocolate. Oh, yes, sister. Yes. Sugary foods. Okay, pawpaw, watermelon. So there's a sweet element, but those are healthy options. Anything sweet. Yes. Chocolate. And we'll see why these aren't good, why these are helping to undermine our health. And so what happens is that these high levels may influence the cravings by affecting the dopamine pathways in the brain, increasing cravings for high fat and high sugar. The high sugar foods, when our bodies our cells are bombarded now with the sugar, we experience insulin resistance and metabolic changes right down to the cellular level. So this trimethylamine N oxide is linked to insulin resistance, which can alter blood sugar levels and drive upward these cravings for carbohydrates and processed foods. But hear this. We can also experience leaky gut and hunger hormones kicking in. And so the TMAO-induced inflammation may contribute to gut permeability issues affecting ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone, and leptin, which is our satiety hormone, leading to increased cravings. And so the takeaway here is that when we reduce our TMAO levels through a plant-based high-fiber diet, and that is one that is rich in polyphenols, rich in probiotics and prebiotics, this would now help to lower inflammation, support mood stability, and reduce the cravings that hold us so tight. And I know some more of you would have, yes, shared coconut bake, ice cream and cake, yes, that combination. Okay, fruit, yes, and cane, yes. So you notice throughout, what is consistent is sugar, right? So even with the coconut bake, when it is processed, it gives us that sugar. So let's see. Gives us the glucose to run on. But let us see the effect now of this TMAO and mood disorders. Neuroinflammation and depression are direct results of elevated levels of this oxide. So increased TMO levels may contribute to neuroinflammation, leading to altered neurotransmitter balance. So here it is. We will now have an imbalance between serotonin and dopamine. Elevated levels are also associated with systemic inflammation and oxidative stress, where oxidative stress damages brain cells and potentially leads to mood problems. Chronic inflammation is a known factor in anxiety, depression, and fatigue as they disrupt these serotonin and dopamine pathways. You're seeing the interconnection here? And of course, inflammation can affect our stress hormone levels like cortisol, as well as sex hormones, further impacting mood and cognition. And so let us examine the gut-brain axis. And so this is a system in our bodies that allows the signals from your gut to reach and influence the processes in the brain and vice versa. Now, usually, this is a great communication method where the GI system can communicate with your brain to ensure that the body continues to function as normal and to correct itself when needed. However, when we have excess TMAO in our gut, we have an abnormal or an unhealthy gut-brain axis connection happening. So rather than there being normal emotional functioning, normal levels of inflammation producing cells, we have instead changes to our mood and behavior. We have increased levels of inflammation and changes in weight as well as our bowel movements. And so this imbalance or dysbiosis in the gut bacteria, it can actually increase the TMAO levels and impact neurotransmitter function. And so it goes in both directions. And here's where sometimes the body may get confused which comes first, the chicken or the egg. But we have a solution, thank the Lord. High fiber foods are our friend. And here it reduces TMAO production and it supports gut microbiome balance, where we have also vegetables, they will play a key role, or legumes, our whole grains, our rich polyphenol-rich foods, and these help to reduce the gut bacteria that would produce this oxide. Or berries, they are antioxidant rich. Hibiscus tea is calming to the gut. And we have our nuts, and we're going to speak to that some more. These are all green light foods, whereas the first image that you would have seen would have constituted red light foods, where we need to just put a full stop, mash your brakes hard, stop going in that direction. Here it is, green light foods, you can go straight ahead. What are your favorite green light foods? Just put it in the chat for me. And so we have now, among the green light foods, prebiotic foods, and these feed good gut bacteria. We have our garlic, or onions, or leeks, asparagus. Yes, the bananas, especially green. You want less ripe ones. Let's see what it looks like. Nuts, yes, sapodillas, avocados, garlic. Tofu and nuts, yes. Let me see what else. Right, nuts. Pineapple. Yes, ripe bananas and avocado. Yes, and I could imagine your plate and what it will look like. And so we have plant-based protein sources, tofu, tempeh. We have lentils and beans, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, and you see the array of colors in this image. We want to eat our colors. And so as we do so, we'll have an opportunity to experience full and complete healing. But here's why. Let us consider why we will benefit. So for good mood, here's a breakdown of the most mood boosting foods. So we have omega-3 fatty acids, and these are key for brain function and anti-inflammation. And we get this from flaxseed, from chia seeds, from walnuts. And you will notice that I've crossed out fatty fish, right? Which include salmon, sardines, and mackerel. Now, you will be able to get omega-3 fatty acids from these fatty fish. However, we want you to be completely healthy because these fatty fish, in addition to the omega-3, also have high levels of cholesterol as well as mercury deposits in their fatty tissue. So we don't want you to get any mercury poisoning. Neither do we want you to experience elevated levels of cholesterol. So when you use plant-based sources for the omega-3s, you will only get the benefit. And let's consider, secondly, in fact, before we move on from the omega-3s, these are especially supportive, as you see, of brain function. They promote and improve neurotransmitter signaling. And this is critical for mood regulation. Okay, so now we have cultured foods and probiotics. And this is a good gut-brain axis support. And we can appreciate that cultured foods and probiotics are vital to restoring healthy gut flora. And let me just stick a pin here, right? There is a clear distinction between cultured food and fermented food. When fermented foods produce alcohol, this is deleterious to the body, and we don't want fermented food. And so we must take note that some cultured foods, if it is left too long, it can become fermented. Certainly, the smell will tell you. And once you get that fermentation occurring, you want to throw it out. But this is where we get our probiotics. You can purchase it as is from the health food shop, or you can make your sauerkraut, right? Where you take your cabbage, you crush it with your hands, you add your salt, and you let it rest. And this releases B vitamins and produces lactobacillus, which is one of the good guys. Now, we also have dark leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables. These are key for anti-inflammatory function as well as brain health. And we have some examples here that we have access to: spinach, your kale, your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts. And these are all high in folate, which is needed for serotonin production. Unfortunately, deficiencies in folate, these are linked to higher rates of depression. And so these veggies also contain antioxidants that protect the brain from oxidative stress. Point number 4, whole grains and complex carbs. Okay, put up your hand. Who is into sweet potato? And you have your yam. You have your cassava. And then we also have quinoa and oats. Yes, and your brown rice. We have your legumes as well. These sustain you. Thank you so much, Sister Aldith. So you can lower your hand now. Yes, and these sustain you well, and they boost your serotonin. So these help. Thanks, Sister Allison. So these help to produce serotonin, that feel-good neurotransmitter. And they also provide that steady glucose release, preventing a mood crash. And let us zone in now to nuts and seeds. These are our brain-boosting nutrients. So we have our almonds, or walnuts, or roasted pumpkin seeds, or sunflower seeds. And these are just fantastic. And let me tell you why. These are rich in magnesium, in zinc, and tryptophan. And these are all nutrients essential for serotonin production and stress reduction. Think of it. Now, tryptophan is an essential amino acid and is a precursor to serotonin, which is a well-known neurotransmitter that plays a vital role in regulating our mood, sleep, our appetite. And studies suggest that tryptophan supplementation can improve mood and potentially decrease quarrelsomeness. So whoever experiences quarrelsome behaviors, take a note. Just have a fresh dose of tryptophan daily. And what it is you want to have. What are some of the foods that are tryptophan dense that is easily accessible to you? So we have roasted pumpkin seeds and squash seeds. And it is so rich. It has over 1,300 milligrams of tryptophan in it per 100 grams of seed, compared to that of chia, which has 721 milligrams per 100 grams. Sesame seeds has 388 milligrams per 100 grams. We have sunflower seeds, which has 348 milligrams per 100 grams, right? The one that has the least is oats, which has 234 milligrams per 100 grams. And outside of the tryptophan, based on studies that were done, decreasing quarrelsome behaviors and increasing agreeable behaviors, did you know that it also helps to ease premenstrual syndrome? It also addresses and modifies seasonal affective disorder. That is that level, that depression that comes around during winter for those who are living in those countries where there's low light. It positively reduces depression, insomnia, nicotine withdrawal. It has positive effects on persons with autism. It improves your cognitive function. It encourages and supports social affiliation, and it improves restful sleep. And this is all due to tryptophan, which is a precursor to serotonin. Okay, so let us consider too berries as well as citrus fruits. Choose your pick, right? You have so many to choose from. And why do we want to choose them? They are high in antioxidants, which combat oxidative stress, which is linked to depression and anxiety. And you know what else? Vitamin C. It helps to regulate cortisol, which is a stress hormone. So pick up your oranges, your kiwi, your strawberries. Yes, and we have been growing that here as well. Your blueberries, yes, pick that up in PriceSmart. But you have your Portugal, right? And your tangerine. Squeeze your lemon in the morning. Have a nice, good flush with your lemon juice in your warm water. You know, start the day with 2 cups of that. And so we would want to also consider the influence of our plant-based protein. Yes, and so I am just checking here. So fire tablet, you love your fruits, fruits and more fruits, your vegetables and your nuts. King orange, yes. You know, and we have some really sweet oranges available here. You know, there's a Tangelo as well, right? So we need to consider our tofu or lentils or lima beans or soybeans, right? We would want to try to ensure that it is non-GMO, preferably, right? And in a study that was done with regards to tyrosine supplementation in response to stress, those who were given tyrosine had significantly reduced headaches, stress, fatigue, muscle aches, and sleepiness compared to the controls, the control that did not get any tyrosine supplementation. There was also improvement noted in mood and mental state, such as records of happiness, mental clarity, reduction in hostility, and reduction in tension. And then there were cognitive tests done, and these were successfully passed in the tyrosine group. There were also feelings of vigor and improvement in blood pressure. Now, what foods are rich in tyrosine, you may ask? Guess which one tops the ladder again? Roasted pumpkin seeds. And you know what else? There is wheat germ at 704 milligrams per 100 grams. Sunflower seeds come in as well at 666 milligrams per 100 grams. We have dry roasted almonds at 551 milligrams per 100 grams. Now, there is on record meat that would also provide tyrosine, such as lamb's quarters, raw. But look at how little, 175 milligrams per 100 grams. But we don't want the extra cholesterol. We don't want your blood pressure to go sky high, right? With the animal products as well. So here it is. We have another winner with plant-based whole foods options. And then let us consider now our herbal teas. And these are key for stress reduction. So you have your chamomile, you have your ashwagandha tea. And why are these very helpful? They are very calming. They help to promote relaxation and focus. And we will delve into that a little more on another slide. And certainly you want to ensure that you remain hydrated with your water, and this benefits your brain. It improves cognitive function. Did you know that even mild dehydration can cause mood swings? It will cause fatigue as well as cognitive impairment. And so staying hydrated supports mental clarity and emotional balance. So let us consider this. This slide helps us to appreciate different herbal support, the primary mechanism of action, and the benefit to your mood. So we know that herbs such as chamomile, ashwagandha, valerian, passion flower, these have been used for centuries to support mood, to reduce stress, and to promote relaxation. But I'm sharing now their mechanisms of action, which primarily involve neurotransmitter modulation, stress hormone regulation, and its numerous anti-inflammatory effects. Now you'll note for chamomile, for example, it is anti-inflammatory and it activates the GABA receptor. Now, GABA receptors, these are a class of receptors that respond to a particular neurotransmitter called GABA. And this is the main inhibitory neurotransmitter in the central nervous system. And these receptors are crucial for regulating activity between the neurons. And you know what? These have such a wide range of functioning: your motor control, your sleep, anxiety and mood regulation, pain perception. And when these neurons and the receptor, if it is not working properly, it contributes to various neurological and psychiatric disorders. I really just thank God that we are so wonderfully and fearfully made. And we have the herbs to help them to activate, and this produces a calming effect and it reduces anxiety. For ashwagandha, it reduces the stress hormone cortisol and it boosts dopamine. And what that will do to us, it relieves our stress and it helps to stabilize our mood. But what about valerian? It enhances the functioning of GABA, it modulates serotonin, and it gives us wonderful sleep. Don't talk about passion flower. Again, it is and provides anxiety relief and better sleep. And lemon balm, this is a beautiful tea to drink. And all of these teas, you don't want to have them with any sugar or anything, any sweetener at all. You just want 1 cup of this, beautifully warm, and just before bed, especially for those who may have problems with insomnia. And this lemon balm, it reduces stress and provides cognitive support. Now, rhodiola supports the increase of both serotonin and dopamine, and it gives you that energy boost, reducing fatigue. St. John's wort, this is a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It balances your mood and it is an antidepressant. And what it does effectively is that it blocks the reabsorption of serotonin, making more serotonin available in the brain, which can help to improve mood and other functioning. And if you don't have holy basil growing in your yard, I'm sure your neighbor does. This is critical for cortisol regulation as well as dopamine support. And this helps to bring clarity and stress relief. So you can drink up your teas. What are some lifestyle strategies? I know we're talking good food, good mood, but what else can we consider? You do want to practice intermittent fasting. And so this helps to reset your gut bacteria and reduce inflammatory markers associated with this trimethylamine N-oxide. And so a 12 to 16 hour fasting window may be beneficial to you. 12 to 16 hours, this sounds like plenty, but do you know how to do it? You can plan to have 2 meals a day. Yes, and so you can, get up, you do what you have to do, you have your meal at 8, and then you can have your next meal at 2 p.m., and you are good until the next day. And what will help to keep you, of course, is a solid meal with a full plate of healthy food, as we just discussed, where the half of your plate has either fruits or vegetables, then quarter of your plate has your protein, the other quarter has your healthy carbs, and you close off your meal with your nuts and seeds. Okay? And this meal is quite satisfying, and I'll give you an example at the end. What else will help to keep you? Regular exercise. Both aerobic as well as resistance training help to lower inflammation and improve your gut microbiome balance, reducing TMAO levels. What else to do? Consider stress management. Yes, that is cortisol regulation. And deep breathing is key to reduce neuroinflammation. Spend time in nature, engage in gardening, do your forest bathing, take your deep breaths. If you are by the beach, it's a wonderful place to be. You get in your negative ions, and it helps to reduce oxidative stress. Certainly, you want to remain hydrated and do your detox, where you will drink adequate amounts of water, and you definitely want to flush out any excess of this oxide. And you want to drink your ginger and your dandelion to support your detox pathways. Certainly, we want to ensure that you have your probiotics. You want to give your body that boost. So you choose one with lactobacillus, with the bifidobacterium strains, to rebalance your gut bacteria and reduce the TMAO producing microbes. Okay, what probiotic to buy? Buy the best that you can afford. You want to buy one that has as many CFUs or colony forming units that you can afford, with as many strains of lactobacillus and bifidobacterium as possible. You also want to invest in some berberine. These may lower TMAO levels and improve your insulin sensitivity. Certainly, you want to ensure that you consume more turmeric, and this reduces systemic inflammation and supports mood as well. Resveratrol, right? It is found in red grapes. And yes, it is also found in red wine. And we're leaving the red wine alone. But it lowers inflammation and it supports brain function. Your omega-3s, this is key. It reduces neuroinflammation and it improves mood. And I don't have it in this slide, but there is a lovely recipe that is a brain booster that provides you with omega-3s that you can just shake over your food, and it is quite tasty. It's very pleasant, and you can have quick and easy access to your omega-3s readily. So if one of my team members can put that recipe in the chat, that will be a huge help. Thank you. And then we have our magnesium glycinate or citrate form. And this helps with stress, with cravings, with inflammation. It helps to relax you as well as the ALA, alpha lipoic acid, which supports detoxification and it reduces oxidative stress. Additional considerations, you want to ensure that you reduce processed sugar as well as refined carbs, right? So because you want to stabilize your mood, you want to lower inflammation and to reduce the TMAO related effects. So one of the things you want to avoid, the so many different colors of the wheat pastas. Leave them alone. If it is you really want pasta, you may want to go for rice pasta or some other type of whole grain, which is really very tasty. You have barley, you have farro, quinoa, so many options available in terms of whole grains. And we need to ensure that we sleep, family and friends. Poor sleep increases inflammation and cravings. So let us aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables constitute the diet chosen for us by our Creator. And we find this in Genesis 1:29 and Genesis 3, verse 18. And so let me share here with you a plate where we have, this is a fruit plate, and we have 3 to 5 servings of fruit. So you would see there's a pawpaw in the bowl, 2 sticks of cane, and we also have some tomatoes and cucumbers. So we can, say that this would constitute about 4 servings, and we are supposed to have 3 to 5 servings of fruit. We also have on the plate chana or chickpeas in a sauce. I have here sweet potato slices constituting the other quarter of the plate. And you will notice that we have the pumpkin seeds, pecans, and sesame seeds. And with this handful, it kept me till the next meal. So, and just enjoy the color. We start eating with our eyes first, and this really keeps you. So this is one such meal as we would have at the Pure Wellness Lifestyle Center. And thank you. Thank you for your time, for your attention, and I welcome your questions. Let me just go to the chat because I'm seeing that, yes, butterfly pea, blue butterfly pea flower, hibiscus, yes. These two make beautiful teas. Right, so your last meal is at 5, the next meal is at 9. Good. And Dr. Nash would have posted this incredible recipe for the brain booster where you get your omega-3s. So you don't need to go to sardine or tuna or mackerel or salmon. Here it is, you have very healthy options where you only get that brain booster and nothing else. Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Yes, sis.
Yes, thank you so much for your presentation. It was well taken. I'm a little confused because I'm told that if they are nuts and seeds, they should be raw. So you mentioned roasted.
Yes.
Clarify that, please. Thank you.
Okay. So we can appreciate that there are some components of the nuts and seeds that will be released more when they are roasted. And another compound that operates just like that is lycopene in tomatoes. When you eat your tomatoes, you will get the lycopene, but the concentration of it becomes more accessible to your cells when the tomato is cooked. And that has the same effect when we roast the pumpkin seeds.
I just want to add the pumpkin seeds, when lightly roasted, not heavily, it enhances tryptophan. And that's what we're looking for here in this brain booster, the tryptophan effect.
Okay, thank you. That's new to me. Thanks. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I saw Fire Tablet. Yes, you raised your hand?
Yes.
Yes.
How much liquid are we using in that formula? I don't think I saw how much liquid in the
recipe?
Yes.
Okay, so there is no liquid. So it is, think of it as a dry rub. And so you put it in, you blend, and you shake onto your food.
So you're doing it dry?
You're doing it dry. You can do it in your, like a coffee grinder, so that you can get it nicely minced.
Okay, thank you a whole lot.
How
Yeah.
light is lightly roasted? How long should you roast it for the pumpkin seed and at what degree? 250, 300, please?
Okay. So what I've found is that pumpkin seeds really does not take a lot of time. So I will put it in my frying pan without anything. So it's no oil or anything like that. Once the pot is hot and I use my spatula and I just saute it around the pot, you will see it starting to get brown and you can quickly turn it off soon afterwards. So it really is within a minute or two once the pot is hot. Any other questions? Okay, I'm seeing some more
Okay,
messages.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, all right, so great question. Do we have date sugar? So some health food shops do sell date sugar, but this is a recipe that if it is you don't have access to date sugar, that's fine. You can actually omit it. And in the blend that I do, I leave the sugar out. And let me tell you a secret. All three of my children, I have to monitor them well because they would just take it and eat it just like that. So you don't even need to take sugar.
That's funny.
Yes. Okay, so question. Okay, where can someone start in terms of good food, good mood? You want to start, if it is every single meal you have would include either something that is that has milk, this dairy, or red meat or eggs. Start small with one meal, going without anything that has a mother, a face, or a liver. Let's start there. And when you eliminate that from your plate for that one meal, I want you to increase your peas and beans, your legumes. You want to get that boost in tryptophan, right? So let's start there. And then, so if you do that for this week, the following week, you want to go 2 meals. And so if that means, well, Monday and Tuesday, you go without meat, that is great. You want to also reduce the portion sizes of your meat. You also want, as you encourage, the decision-making, positive decision-making and habit forming, you want to start walking. You want to drink more water. That is key because we want to start flushing out now this oxide out of the body, right? Get your sunshine, eat more fruits and vegetables. You want to provide the body with the components to help fight that negative mood and increase the good mood that you are desirous of. Okay, how much do you eat at one meal of the brain booster? 2 tablespoons. And you shake that on your food. Which teas are best? You have so many options. You can choose which one meets your palate. So yes, you have the butterfly pea, you have the passion fruit flower. It has a sweet and tangy flavor all by itself. It's a very complex flavor, very pleasant, right? You can also use the chamomile. Okay, so you've been told that ashwagandha can lead to cancer risk. Okay, that has not been, I haven't come across that at all in terms of cancer risk. Dr. Nash, I don't know if you want to speak to that, but certainly everything needs to be taken in moderation. All right, and you're saying to, okay. I'm not sure what share or sure. I'm not sure what you're saying to repeat. Sorry. Okay, and so the question is, I'm sorry, repeat that.
I was just asking, thank you so much. I was just asking about which element of the meal you were saying to replace and what to replace it with.
Okay, all right. So let me just go back to the plate, if I may. And so you'd notice here that we don't have any meat at all. So I have the quantity of fruit, this being a fruit meal. If it were a vegetable meal, I will have my bowl full of lettuce, and I may also have some kale or pak choy, you know, colored greens based on where you are, on the plate. But this is a fruit plate. And so I have, just in terms of the amount, about 4 servings of fruit altogether. So between the amount of pawpaw that is on the plate, the tomatoes and cucumbers. Then 1/4 of the plate is the sweet potato, and the other, the chana, which is my protein. And so you would want to replace the meat with more portions of your fruit, for example, in the plate. And certainly you want to have a good amount of protein as well as your grain to give you a good supplement of protein for the day. Okay, so is kombucha recommended for gut health? So it is good, but you don't want it to go to a fermented state, right? And that is key. Cultured foods are good, not fermented foods.
I just want to address a question on ashwagandha.
Yes.
Ashwagandha, we've highlighted it here as supporting nervous system and also helping, just to calm, get that smooth and ease in our mood. However, when it comes to cancer, it's actually one of the items that can be used to improve our immune system, to optimize our immune system. So I'm not sure if the individual wants to go back and look at the research on that and to see in what context it was placed. But I would even recommend ashwagandha along with the echinacea, astragalus, and other items, Padiaco, as part of optimizing the immune system for cancer situations.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Nash. And here it is. The question is asked about forest bathing. Yes. So forest bathing really is a therapeutic practice that began in Japan. And there are numerous studies on it where persons engage all their senses as they walk through the forest. They're not hustling. It's a 2-hour experience walking through, focusing on sensory engagement in the forest, and that promotes relaxation and well-being. And the studies have shown that after 2 hours of walking through the forest, it boosts your immune system by boosting the natural killer cells. It reduces anxiety, it reduces high blood pressure. And as you breathe in phytoncides, which really is the essential oils from the trees, it has that calming, soothing effect. And you know what else? And the effect on your body after forest bathing for 2 hours, it lasts for a month, whether it is you go back to the city or not. So I recommend forest bathing to you.
How do you forest bathe?
How do you forest bathe? So you want to engage all of your senses as you walk through. So what are you listening to? You listen to the different sounds of the forest. You look for the shapes, the textures of the leaves, of the flowers. You take in deep breaths as you walk. If you can ground, as that is, you take off your shoes, you can walk barefooted in that area as well. Now, mind you, the research does not say that the persons, they walked barefooted. So even without walking bare feet, you can benefit from just being in the area, doing your deep breathing. I'm not inviting you to taste the bark or anything like that, but you engage as much of your senses as possible as you walk through your forested areas. You can do it in a park as well, but you want to ensure that there is a lot of trees around. You want to get as much fresh air as possible. And, you know, as little noise. You want it all to be very natural, natural sounds, as opposed to, you know, hearing the cars and the vehicles blare by. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Okay, once daily for the brain booster. So when you have your 2 meals for the day, you can have it both times. All right. Okay, so I hear the concern in terms of 2 meals being difficult. I would not now, a third meal may be necessary, especially if someone is up very early in the day and you have a full packed day. But 7 p.m. at night really is quite late to be eating. When the recommendation is being in bed by 9. And that is to allow for healing and restoration of the brain and the body, for you to get really deep, restful sleep. The microglia cells in the brain, these cells, they're part of your neuronal system, and they help to sweep the brain clean of dead cells, decaying cells. And this sweeping action takes place when you are asleep. If you do not get sufficient sleep, quality sleep, you have that buildup of toxins in your system, right? When you eat that late, your body, your stomach does not rest. And so really, how do we define a light supper? We would recommend that you don't eat later than 6, right? And 6 p.m. And that would be a slice of bread or crackers with some type of fruit. So if it is a homemade jam that you would have made, so it does not have as much sugar, that would be good. Or you could chunky some pumpkin and have it with crackers. So that is what we define as a light supper. But try to bring up that third meal time earlier in the day, even by 1 hour, so that your stomach will get a chance to rest and therefore have your body experience the full and complete restoration that it needs. Correct. It will not digest before 10. And so, which is why we would recommend going very light. And well, you heard the example. So preferably 2 meals are better. And if it is you're having a third meal, then you can go even earlier. Okay. Many of the foods and teas you listed are not found growing locally here in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean. What locally grown substitutes can be used for the same results? So we would have, I didn't mention hibiscus tea earlier. Passion flower that grows here in Trinidad, that is the same flower for the passion fruit, right? And so you have to decide whether you want passion fruit to, make your desserts, and you can make a beautiful dessert, healthy dessert, tasty dessert with your passion fruit. Or if you'll drink the flower, you can also use soursop, right? And that has a very soursop leaves, and that has a very calming effect as well.
I'd want to add
Butterfly. Go ahead, Doc.
hops tea is also because we do
Yes.
hops locally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that grows locally, hops tea as well, and it grows in the wild as well. So that's another example. Okay, so in terms of yogurt, so you can make a healthy yogurt with coconut milk. You don't want it to be fermented. And that is just the key. So it can be cultured with your probiotic, just not fermented. But you can make it with coconut milk and be quite tasty. And there are some available on the market, unfortunately not locally. In the US and the UK, they have many options in terms of non-dairy options for yogurt. Okay. Okay. So
May I ask another question? I'm sorry. May I ask another question?
sure, you
Yeah.
may.
Yes. Okay. Would liquid aminos be considered fermented food? Would you say?
So
That Bragg's.
yeah, Bragg's liquid amino.
Yeah.
That was one of my go-to products to make food very tasty. And unfortunately, I've had to put it on pause, park it on the side, because I am not sure as to the practice, as to how they make it, how they make the protein isolate. It is possible that it is fermented. Calls were made to the factory in that regard. So I have put it on pause. So
Additionally, it's
if
high
you
in
have more
sodium.
information on it, yes. Go ahead, Dr. Nash.
Yeah, it's also high in sodium, so
Yes.
we'd want to watch that as well.
Certainly.
Hi, good evening. Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
I wanted to find out a little more about sauerkraut. You said you rub on the salt to the cabbage, but how long does it take before it is cultured? Is it hours or is it a day or what is it? How much time?
Right. Okay, so great question. So you will need to check it in 3 days time. Of course, you can put it in your fridge. It's fully covered. And at the end of 3 days, that should be fine. The flavor is going to come out. Because again, it would have been bacteria from your environment, from your hands, as you would have massaged it. So in 3 days, it should be fine. If it goes beyond that, you would want to be particularly careful to see whether it has begun to ferment. Okay, so 3 days would be my go-to.
Okay, thank you so much. And when it's 3 days and 3 days time, you have to eat it out within that time because
So you
if it's
can,
longer.
yes.
So
So you
you
make
just
it
make
in
a small
small
amount.
batches.
Okay, right. Yeah, okay. Thank you
Yes.
so much and thank you for the presentation also. God bless you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so question. My gynecologist told me to avoid eating kale as it's not good for estrogen levels. Is this true? This is interesting that your gynecologist would have said that because kale is a cruciferous vegetable that has indole, which is a component that is actually used to fight cancer, right? So that to say that it is not good, well, it's not good for estrogen levels. It will reduce it.
And then pasteurize the milk. They can stay on the shelf for a whole month or 2 months or put in the fridge for longer.
Pawpaw leaf tea
That's
is good also. Yes,
we
pawpaw
are
leaf
fine. But by doing
has
that,
been
it
known.
damages the milk. The enzyme, a lot of things that in the milk is gone.
Could you mute your mic? So pawpaw leaf is really good for dengue, to address dengue.
All right, so just
And
approach of dealing with things, okay?
also it is very much anti-inflammatory.
Somebody have the mic open. I cannot hear.
It was coming for great revolution. They have to kill him.
Okay, and the pawpaw itself is anti-helminth and it aids in digestion. Okay. Okay, great question. How does one get teenagers to move away from fast fried food to healthy foods like vegetables? Okay, so there are many ways to do so. You would want to, and as a teenager, I would want first to encourage them to reason from cause to effect, right? I know that as a teenager, the brain is being rewired. And so while you may get some pushback, it's important to not just try to sneak the vegetables in, but you want to explain why. And of course, I want to can we organize a cooking class so that we can show that healthy food is tasty food? I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, it is. But what are some of the things that we can do? So you can blend your carrots and in with your rice pasta, and you make a very delicious pie. And there you have your veggies in, right? You can make your dressings. We have such a delicious beet sauce that we pour over tofu. It's a bright pink. And listen, you don't want to stop eating, you will grab at your fingers. You'll just bite them. It's so good. And then we have breadfruit wraps. You wouldn't treat that wrap like a tortilla, and you put it in with your black bean burgers, and your other fillings with your sunflower seed dressing. You will not miss the fried foods. So the options are available. You can check Dr. Nash's cookbook. Is it Brilliant Bites? Just remind me, Dr. Nash.
Balance bites.
Balance Bites. And believe me, they are delicious bites. Delicious bites, delicious recipes that you can have access to for your young people, and your older ones too, that you, and the recipes are easy to follow and the ingredients very accessible. And so, Dr. Nash, if you can place in the chat where we can access these recipe books to improve our health and well-being and help us to transition more easily from eating the meat to healthier options. Okay, I thought it was to be in bed by 10. And here's the thing. When we go in by 10, because our minds are racing and we have so many things going on, we don't settle down until 11. So it's better to be in bed by 9, and so that your mind can settle, your body can settle, and there is an entire sleep hygiene routine that you'd want to follow so that your body gets the rest that it needs. 2 hours before midnight counts double compared to those hours after midnight, right? So we want to ensure that we get sufficient rest. We turn off the devices, an hour before. So by 8, we turn them off. And, we start to turn off the lights as we head towards the bedroom. And of course, we don't encourage any television in the bedroom. The bedroom should be for sleep and relaxation. You're correct, Brother Green. Many Trinis eat late at night, and so it is very unhealthful. Okay, so between the meals, we can have a fruit bowl. No, we don't recommend a fruit bowl. We don't recommend anything but water between meals. Why? The stomach is very respectful, Once it senses that more food is coming in, it is going to stop digestion and wait until the food comes in and then starts back. But what happens to the food that would have been in the stomach already? That will start to ferment. And many times what we see over time is that we would experience that acid reflux, that burning in the chest. You would belch and it would hurt your throat. And it begins with that fermentation. So we don't eat between meals. We have whatever you need to eat, you eat it at one meal, and you would only drink water in between meals. Please note that we would drink water 15 minutes as little as 15 minutes before your meal. You want to allow the water to get absorbed into your cells, but we only drink water 2 hours after the meal, right? Because we don't want the water to dilute your digestive enzymes, whether it is the amylase in your mouth or even the stomach acid, down there. Fever grass is also a beautiful tea to have. Okay, right, sweet mint, ginger. Okay. Yes, yes. And that is fine. Okay, so we'll have to post a recipe, yes, for the yogurt. Greek yogurt, what I've seen, Greek yogurt, at least what is available here locally, is not safe because it's dairy. If they had non-dairy options, that would be something to consider, but unfortunately not. At least not locally, at least those that I have seen. I am sure that we can make our own liquid amino and you can monitor the sodium levels. So that is something to check out. Okay. All right.
I just want to you know, look at the liquid aminos. So ideally, we get amino acids from our foods. And as we eat our food, it goes through the digestive process, and then the body builds our protein out of that. So by having it in this concentrated form to be ingested is not altogether natural way of things. So you just need to be cautious around that. You know, so get it in our peas and our beans combined with our grains in a day. So your legumes and your grains within a day will give you sufficient amino acids to build your protein. Your grains and your vegetables eaten within a day will give you sufficient amino acids in order to build protein. So we manufacture it and we do it ourselves unless we have some structural problem where it's difficult for us to build our protein. We should rather, you know, just work with nature as God has given us our food and make our own protein from decompositions of the amino acid as found in food. You mix it with your saliva, you're digesting it, it's going through the process, as opposed to putting it into liquid form, in concentrated form. That's not the best.
Well said. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nash. And so we can get the cookbook Balanced Bites at the number provided 724-4898. Let me see if there are any other questions. Okay, so yes, clarification, you want to drink water up to 15 minutes before the meal and then drink water 2 hours after you have finished eating. Thank you so much, Sister Betty.
Hello, good night. I would like to ask a question. Sorry,
Yes.
I came in kind of late. I missed most of it. But I would like to know if instead of using sugar, I have stevia. If you could use this short stevia extract, if that's okay.
Yes, so stevia is plant-based, and like with everything else, you want to use it in moderation. In fact, what happens is that with stevia, particularly if you use too much, it tastes bitter. So you want
Yes,
to
that's the fact.
yes, you want to really be very temperate in the use of stevia.
I would like to ask a question.
Thank you.
Yes, and I guess yours will be the last one. Yes.
That's good. Thank you. Concerning flaxseed, I've heard them saying that the flax meal is better because it's more digestible. Could you clear up that for me? And also, you mentioned about squeezing lemon in your water and you can have that to drink. Heard someone suggesting that you use a straw when you're drinking it because it will protect the enamel of your teeth.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay. All right. And let me start with the second one first. You are correct. You want to squeeze a tablespoon of lemon juice in your cup of water and use a straw. It does protect the enamel of your teeth from the acid. Yes. And so that is a good practice to have and to continue. In terms of flax meal, yes, it is more easily digestible once it's ground, but you also we use the flax meal to help to suck up, if you will, cholesterol, right? Excess cholesterol and any free fats in the blood. And so to begin that process, the same way charcoal is very effective as a powder, where the surface area is increased as a powder, it has the same effect with the flax meal when you grind it and you use it. It also adds bulk. You use it think of it as a broom sweeping through your gut as well, right? So it functions very effectively as a form of soluble fiber as well.
Okay, and thank you for your presentation.
And thank you for being here.
Dr. Buckmire, I had stepped away for a short while. Did you address the question on kale and estrogen?
Yes, but certainly you can add some more.
I hope I'm not overriding what you said. But basically, when it comes to estrogen in our women, sometimes you have estrogen dominance. And that's not a good thing because it therefore speaks to an imbalance in your hormone levels. So kale, as part of the cruciferous family, which would be cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and it tends to reduce estrogen levels, and therefore you can have it you can have your hormones more balanced. So eating those foods, if you have PCOS, you have fibroids, you have hormonal breast cancer, where you have too much estrogen in the system, then you definitely would want to be using kale. However, kale, along with the other foods in that family, your cabbage, your Brussels sprouts, your broccoli, cauliflower. However, if you are in menopause time of life and you do want to keep some more estrogen in your system, because as you hit into menopause, your estrogen levels reduces. And therefore, having lots of foods in the cabbage family of foods will even drive that down further. Then you can find you have hormonal, the hot flashes and other kinds of issues. Weak bones, brittle bones, your hair can be falling out. Those things that your pressure can be increased, those areas of the body and different conditions that estrogen will help to keep a good balance. So it depends on the individual, their current state, what's going on with them, why the gynecological practitioner will make such a recommendation, back away from kale. Kale in its raw state, along with the cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts in its raw states, can also disrupt the thyroid hormone function and the uptake and the manufacture of thyroid hormone. And the uptake of iodine can be hampered. So again, everything in a context and based on the individual's needs will vary. So it's a statement not just to be taken in isolation, but look at in its own context.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that addition. The addition in terms of the context of menopause, Dr. Nash. And so the last question has to do with what are some of the causes of acid reflux. And so one of them is eating between meals, not eating on time, and eating the wrong foods, eating and drinking together, right? There are many factors that would contribute to acid reflux. And so I would invite you, if it is you have any health concerns, that you can give me a call. You can call Dr. Nash. I'm available at 298-3689, and we can do a consultation with you where we look at your, everyday health behaviors, and I can support you to better health. So thank you so much for your kind attention and your engagement.
Sorry, could you repeat the number, please?
Certainly, 298-3689.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. So let me just repeat that one more time, 298-3689. Okay.
Thank you very much. I've actually placed the number in the chat, so individuals, you can all go there and get it. We just want to say thank you very much, Dr. Buckmire, for the presentation this afternoon. Very much detailed, giving tools, giving guidelines, and even recipes, and giving some perspective as to what we can actually do in this space. And I just, by way, want to be able to share some announcements.